Hi guys, I'm Brad the Impaler, and I get pissed right the fuck off when I hear stupid people saying stupid things. So this is my invitation to you to get pissed right the fuck off with me, and maybe learn a thing or two while you're doing it.
So I was walking home the other day, and this guy followed me as I was walking to my apartment.
This sounds like the beginning of a bad story. Hope everything turned out okay. Let's find out.
He asked me where I was going, and I said, home, smiling politely and quickly turning around.
Well, it sounds to me like you handled yourself pretty well. Good job. Did he leave you alone?
Then he asked me if he could come with me, and I said, no, I'm okay, this time making sure that I had no eye contact with him. Then he asked me, can I get your number? And I said, sorry, no thank you. Then he asked me, do you live alone? And I said, no, I live with my boyfriend, hoping that he would get the clue. Then he said, so can I get your number?
Whew, what a pleb. Man, some guys sure can be desperate, huh? I mean, being that insistent alone just rings desperate, but being that insistent with you? Come on! Wasn't me, I swear. Well, it might have been me. Holy shit. Now, desperate, pesky plebs not being able to take a hint is considered sexual assault. I mean, that is literally what this crazy-haired SJW is saying. Now, you're gonna say to me, that's just one feminist point of view, and you're right. I mean, after all, Christy Winters said we should challenge ourselves.
Anti-feminists often take up the most extreme or the weakest feminist position they can find, or they just straight up misrepresent what the feminist position is. Instead, why not take up the strongest, most robust feminist argument you can find and really challenge yourself?
I mean, after all, she does have a PhD in bitching.
Turn down for weed. Smoke weed.
M'lady. It's not often I get to tip my fedora. But as much as I hate to admit it, she's right, you know. We need to tackle some of the strong feminist arguments that are being bolstered up as the reasons why they do indeed need feminism. The one we'll be focusing on today is rape culture. Let's get some feminists to tell us what it is.
What rape culture does mean is that we normalize rape and we make excuses for it. We blame rape survivors for their own victimization, and we tell women that because they didn't behave or dress in a certain way, that it's their own fault for being sexually assaulted.
So the first thing I want to do in this video is go ahead and just lay out all the cards on the table. So the FBI's Uniform Crime Report defines rape as penetration, no matter how slight, of the vagina or anus, with any body part or object, or oral penetration by a sex organ of another person without the consent of the victim. Now, I think everyone can agree that that is actually rape. If someone penetrates you, or forces you to penetrate, they are sexually assaulting you.
Oh, hi, babes.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Can I kiss you?
No! No!
I'm not shitting you, these are supposedly the noises she makes when she gets turned on.
You look uncomfortable. Are you okay?
I don't know whether to be afraid or very, very turned on.
I don't make that sound usually.
Thank God for that. I mean, you'd have a very hard time getting consent with those noises. Anyway, I really need you to get on to the point, because if you don't, I'm gonna get bored. When I get bored, oh, fuck it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What Stupidville reminds us is that we live within a rape culture, a culture where sexual violence is common, but it's considered normal and it is dismissed in any number of ways.
And yes, I agree, Steubenville was awful, but it was not a reminder that rape culture is prevalent in Western society. In order for that to be the case, we would have to see so many more rape cases thrown to the wayside simply because the girl usually acted like a slut, or any of the other number of reasons that feminists keep bringing up as reasons they believe a rape culture is here. Now here's another thing to point out. As Lacey Green makes the argument that sexual violence is common in the United States, she puts up these statistics, including, oh, wait, what is that? The 1 in 4 statistic? This is why feminism is dangerous. This 1 in 4 statistic, which I will thoroughly debunk, is even being backed by the President of the United States.
It is estimated that 1 in 5 women on college campuses has been sexually assaulted during their time there. 1 in 5.
And, you know, that's fine if he's just using that statistic to further his support among women, but it gets worse.
And that's why here, today, I will sign a presidential memorandum creating the White House Task Force to protect students from sexual assault. And we're going to work with colleges and universities and educational institutions of all kinds across America to help them come up with better ways to prevent and respond to sexual assault on their campuses. And then we'll help them put those ideas into practice.
So what is this task force? And what do they do? Well, on their website, whitehouse.gov, there is an article entitled Renewed Call to Action, End Rape and Sexual Assault. And it talks about the new White House Task Force, and it says the White House Task Force to protect students from sexual assault builds on federal efforts already underway, which seek to break devastating cycles of violence on campuses and around the country. For example, and then it goes on to say that in 2012, the federal government issued a revised definition of rape that includes rape of men, and which better reflects the realities of sexual assault. This new definition will improve our understanding of where and how often this crime occurs. Well, that's the definition that I gave you earlier. Now you'll see how the definition I gave you earlier doesn't exactly match up with the study that these feminists like to give us. So, moving on to the study. We see here that they define incapacitated sexual assault as this. The general relationship between substance use and sexual assault has been well documented, especially with respect to research focusing on university samples, and it goes on to list a bunch of different authors of different studies. Substance use can incapacitate a victim or make it difficult for her to consent to or refuse sexual activity. It may also decrease a perpetrator's sense of responsibility or awareness of his behavior, lead to the misinterpretation of cues, diminish the victim's ability to prevent an assault, or lead to women taking risks they might otherwise avoid. So, what this study is telling us is that if you have sex with a woman while she is drunk, and later the woman happened to respond to this survey and say that she thought about it and didn't like it, it is now considered sexual assault, and that woman falls into this 1 in 5. This video is already long enough, and I don't really want to get into all of the different ways that they incorrectly define sexual assault or rape in this study. There are great videos done by different universities and by Christina Hoff Sommers that explain the faults with this study in great detail. That's not my job. My job in this video is simply to debunk rape culture. You've already seen with the numbers that I've given you that the study that feminists are lifting up to show that rape culture is prevalent, especially in colleges in the Western world, is completely false. It's also completely unscientific, and the methods that they used were an online survey, and when people told them their experiences and answered questions that they were given, the researchers then went on to define that as sexual assault. The members of the colleges that responded to this survey, they were not able to say themselves that, yes, I was sexually assaulted. No. It was determined by the scientists who did this study, the researchers, that they were, indeed, sexually assaulted. And that brings me to my main point in this video. It's studies like these, dishonest intellectually, at least, maybe outright lying to try and get more funding for something that brings even the President of the United States to attention based on lies. And that is why we have to fight, why we have to find these quote-unquote strong feminist arguments and tear them down, because they're changing our society at a fundamental level, and there's a problem with that.
Why is trying and failing to debunk a study into sexual assault the #1 priority for a rational thinker now?
Shut up! I wanted to be able to debunk the whole idea of rape culture and everything in one video. But there's just so much bullshit surrounding this idea that it would take up way too much of your time in one single sitting to have you sit down and watch a 30-minute video, just calling out all the bullshit here. So if you'll rate, subscribe, tell me you like it, suggest what you want to see in the next videos. Part 2 for debunking rape culture will be coming out most likely next week. Thank you. See you guys later.